Hello friends, so today we're gonna discuss the first 5 problems from the latest lunchtime February from Code Chef. The first 5 problems from Div 3, as you can see, all of these problems still average sorting. So let's start. The first problem states that you are given two integers n and k, and you will keep on performing the operation that you will subtract k from n. So that such that you can keep on subtracting k from n such that you have to find out which is the smallest non-negative number you can get after subtracting k from n. Which is actually mean by this is like you can keep on subtracting k from n such that now you cannot subtract more from n. So like what is the final number you can get? The simplest explanation can be like you just keep on dividing. If you like, it's like subtracting out 5, subtract 2 2 2, so that such that the last number which is remaining, which cannot be divided by this number, is equal to actually 5 mod like 5, or actually 5 mod 2 which is equal to 1, or like 4 mod 4 which is equal to 0, or 2 mod 5 which is equal to 2. So just finding out the modulus with n mod k. So that's the whole answer. But this one trick, I hope, or like a lot of students actually get there, because k is equal to 0, which means that you cannot just find out n mod k, because this will give a runtime error, because you are like doing a modulo with a 0, because k can be 0. So you just have to take care of that test case, and you just have to think over that. Else the answer is just n mod k when k is equal to 0, which means that you cannot subtract out any number from n. So the minimum number you can get is equal to n itself, because you cannot subtract anything from k. I hope you get the point. The answer for this is actually just it's just n and k. I've written k as m, so n and m. And if m is equal to 0, then the answer is just n. Else the answer is n mod m. So that's the whole all the links of these problems and the links of the solution will be in the description, so you can check that out. Okay, the next problem states that actually you have different problems ranging from 1 till 10 difficulty. So you have, or this problem statement name is Danish and problem. So you have actually different n problems, and all of those n problems such that all of the problem has some difficulty which is in the order of 1 till 100, or sorry 10. Now you actually have an array which tells you that okay, I have one problem of difficulty 1, 10 problems of difficulty 2, 1 problem and difficulty 3. So because all the difficulty will be from 1 till 10, so you always have an array of 10 numbers which tell that okay, I have 100 problems of difficulty 10, and so on. Now you have some friend which can possibly delete out k problems from all of these problems which you have. So you have these number of problems, so the friend can delete out k problems at most, or like the k problems. Then you just have to find out what is the smallest possible value of the difficulty of the most difficult problem which remains after removing k problems, which actually means that if the friend actually delete out k problems from all of these problems, what is the maximum difficulty which is remaining after deleting out those k elements, or like k papers. So it's always beneficial to start deleting out from the end, because that's the paper you have which has the maximum difficulty. Okay, so you just have to keep on subtracting out, like this is k. So if you want to delete out, just let's assume k paper. Okay, so if you delete out this k paper from the end, like now no paper is remaining of difficulty 10, but also there is also no paper remaining of difficulty 9. So the maximum paper which is remaining after deleting out k papers, which is the maximum difficulty which is remaining, this, because this has some papers. What is the difficulty? There are 9 papers which are there, which has a difficulty of 8. So what is the maximum difficulty left after deleting out k papers? The answer is 8, because 8 is the maximum difficulty which is remaining. Difficulty means that if there are some papers remaining, what is the maximum difficulty you can face out, which is this 8, and so on. So if this is 12, you can delete out 10 papers from here. Then as you can see, this you can delete out 1 paper from here, and 1 paper after deleting out, there is only 1 paper which is there, which is of difficulty 1. So the answer is 1. So I hope you get the point. You just have to iterate from right to left, start out deleting out the papers such that my k becomes equal to 0, which means that as you can see in the constraint also, the addition of all of those numbers is always greater than k. So it will always hit that. It cannot happen a case in which you take out like k is greater than the summation of all of those numbers. So you will always hit a case. So the solution of this is just iterating from right to left, as you can see. first iterate of all the numbers, iterating from right to left. If my k becomes equal to 0 and we are on some number which is positive, because as you have to see here that I will keep on subtracting out the number with k. So as you can see, I can delete out, because k is greater than or equal to this number, I can delete out this. But my answer is not 9. I have to find out the next number in the line which is greater than 0. So that's what I'm finding out. I'm finding out the next number which is greater than 0, and when my k becomes equal to 0, the answer is I plus 1, because I'm doing from 0 indexing, but the answer is from 1 indexing. Else, if my k is less than a of I, which means that my current paper is, let's assume, 100, the number of papers of the type like 10 difficulty is 100, and my k is equal to 2. So I can take out 2 paper, but still how many papers are remaining? There are some paper remaining of the maximum difficulty on which we are. So the answer is obviously this ith paper. Else, if the number of papers we have, let's assume that we have paper of difficulty 8, which is equal to, let's assume, 2, and my k is equal to 100. So I can just take out those 2 papers and still keep on continuing, because I have more paper to delete out. So else I can delete out a of I from k and just keep on doing this, because this will always hit a condition in which I will somehow become my k equal to 0, and that's the answer. I hope you get the point of this problem also. All the code will be in the description, so you can check those code also. The third problem is, you are given some L to R range, and you just have to tell that you just have to find out a number which is co-prime with all of the numbers within this range. So you just are given some numbers, and you just have to find out a number which is a co-prime within this range. I hope you get the point. So as you can see, if you have, let's assume, numbers from 2 till 10, so you have to just find out a number which is co-prime with all the numbers between 2 and 10. Okay, so co-prime means that they do not share a common factor. Okay, so both of, if you take 2, the other number, then both of them are co-prime, they do not share a common factor. Okay, so what the problem statement can be in simple terms, what you can easily do here is, you just have to find out, as you can see, L to R is up to 10 to the power 6. Okay, so now if you just find out a prime number which is greater than L to R range, so that's the answer. Because as you can see, if you find out a prime number between, so if you are given some numbers, let's assume till L to R, let's assume 2 and 100, if you just take a prime number in between, it can so happen that, because all the numbers for all the numbers between 2 and 100, the factors will be less than or equal to that number. Which what I mean by this is, if I number like 2, 3, 4, 5 till 100, okay, if I find out a factor, if I take out or find out the factors of all the numbers, then the factors of all of those numbers will be less than or equal to this number only. I hope you get the point. So if they are less than or equal to that number, there will be some sort of prime numbers. So if I find out a prime number in between of these numbers, then it can happen that my answer will not satisfy. But if I find out a prime number which is greater than this range, like R value range, then it is always valid, because that prime number and all the prime numbers or n number between will always be co-prime, because that number is greater than this number. There is no factor which will be between this and this, which can happen. I hope you get the point, because that is I'm not taking out any number, I'm taking out a prime number. So if it is a prime number, and so if this is a prime number, then if you take out a prime number and any prime number in between, they always be co-prime. If you take out any number in between, then that number and that number will always be co-prime, because this number and a prime number will always be a co-prime number. I hope you get the point. You just have to find out the next prime number which is greater than my range, which is R value. So you can just create a sieve for finding out all the prime numbers between the range from 1 till 2 to power 10 to power 9. This is a very large number, you're just finding out, because as you can see in this, this is 10 to power 6. So what you can do here is just find out all the prime numbers between 2 to 2 into 10 to power 6. Okay, just doing some extra work, just finding out the prime numbers from 2 to 10 to power 10 to power 2 into 10 to power 6. Just make a sieve of all of those numbers, and whatever you are given the range, which is my range is, let's assume, 2 till 1000, you should just find out the next prime number after 1000, and that's the answer. So that's what I've done in this solution also. I've just made a DP, which is actually a sieve, and just take the input of L to R and just find out the next prime number from R plus 1 till, because I have made, or just for simplicity it's just 2 into r. You will always find out a prime number between 2 into r. So you just add, you can also just make a while loop also. Okay, it's up to you. And whenever you just find out a prime number, just print out that prime number and that's the answer. Okay, so that's the for loop for finding out the sieve, making out the sieve. And that's the you just have to find out a prime number which is just greater than the r value. Okay, and you can always find it out. That's the problem 3. The problem 4 is pulpal strings, in which you are actually given out a string. It's a very standard and a very common problem. You can also find out this problem on LeetCode also. So in which you actually are given some string, and what you actually have to do here is you have to divide this string into different strings such that all the different divided strings are palindrome and their length should be greater than 1. Okay, so you just have to divide all these strings into different palindromes, and you can just rearrange them as ever you want. So just take out that string, you can rearrange the characters such that the characters which are divided, the length of those strings should be greater than 1 and everything should be palindrome. So the simplest solution for this is you just for forming out a palindrome, what you actually have to do here is just first find out the frequency of every number or every character. Okay, so if some character has even frequency, then it will always find out, or it will always form a palindrome, which is fine. But if some character has odd frequency, let's assume that some character b appears like this, BBB. Okay, so this BB is actually occurring again some even times. So you just store out how many even occurrences of characters are there. Even pairs are there. Even pairs mean like this is one pair, which is one pair, this is one pair, but now this B is left. So just count out even pairs and left out part. Okay, so now what is my main goal is, what you'll do, you'll just take out the left out part, because the left out part will always be in the middle of anything, and then you can just cover it out with like the even parts, as you can see, BB, CC, and so on. So you just have to ensure that how many even pairs are there. Like even pair means that the length is greater than or equal to 1, obviously. If you just find out the even pairs, then like even pairs can always find out like they can always form like a palindrome of greater than or equal to length 1. Okay, so even pairs are fine, which will like satisfy my condition. But what my condition statement states that if my number of odd characters, okay, if they are less than or equal to even pairs, then I can easily put those odd characters between my even pairs and satisfy my condition. I hope you get the point. So if I have, let's assume 5 even pairs, I can make 5 even pairs like this: AA, AA, BB, CC, EE. And now maybe I have 3 odd characters which are left, maybe like Z, X, Y. So I can put Z here in between here, X and Y, which is fine. Now I have 3 strings which are greater than or equal to 1 and they all are palindrome. I hope you get the point. But if I have, let's assume this D is also left and F is also left, and now I have G also left. Now I cannot place G anywhere else. So I should always ensure that the number of odd characters which are left to me, they should be less than the number of even pairs I have. If that condition is satisfied, then the answer is okay, else the answer is no. So I'll take it to the code part now. The code is also very simple. Just find out the frequency of everything, and then just find out the number of even pairs and odd pairs. And if my, like as I've told you, if the number of odd pairs, as you can see, is greater than the number of even, like the number of odd characters which are left is greater than the number of even pairs, the answer is no, as the answer is yes. So that's the whole logic for this code part. Also, you can also check this code part in the description also. The third, or actually the fifth problem, is a little bit tricky, but you just have to think over this problem. There are some key points you have to think. So you are given some sequence A1 till AN, and then what you can do here is you can perform one operation in which what you can do sorry, you can find out the average. As you can see, just take out 2 adjacent elements, AI and AI plus 1, find out the average, which is like AI plus 1 divided by 2, and replace any of those, like the numbers you have taken, with this average. And also this is one important part, without rounding, which means that you don't have to round it out. if it's like 2.5, like 2.5, you just have to write it 2.5. It's 2.5769. You just have to write that number out. So you will always replace it with actually a number which is the average of both of these numbers. You can replace out any number of that ai and a plus 1 divided by 2. Okay, and then what you actually have to find out here is you have to just find out whether you can make this whole array which is given to you, which is a1 till an, can you make this whole array increasing, strictly increasing, by doing some finite number of steps. Okay, you just have to find out that whether you can do that or not, and that's the problem. Now what you can think in this problem is, let's assume that I have some string which is like 555. Okay, you can also see that from the test case also, which is like given to you. If it is 555, then if you take out some as you can see, if average of that, it's turned out to be 5 only. Just take out any average, so that will not become increasing, strictly increasing, which is fine. Now if I have some string or like some array which is like decreasing, which is like 1 2, okay, sorry, like 5 4 3 1. Okay, now what you can easily observe here is whenever you are finding out an average of two numbers, the number of or the average answer is always in between. So it is always what you can say less than the maximum number and greater than the minimum number. Okay, so what I mean by this is if you find out the average for both of this, it's like 9 divided by 2, which is 4.5. So it is greater than this number but less than this number. Okay, now if you replace this, because you want to make this strictly increasing, you will always replace this number with this 4.5, because if you replace this number, then what will happen, this number will increase. Okay, but if you want to increase this number cannot actually over exceed 5. Like as you can always assume that you have some number which is like as you can see, this is 5, or you can assume that this is 4 and this is 5. You can assume this to be a staircase. Okay, now if you find out the middle, it is like always 4.5. If you again find out the middle, it's like this. Okay, it's like this. So you can get as much close to the smaller number. I hope you get the point. So you can always get as much close to the smaller number, but you cannot get over exceed that. You cannot get less than the smaller number, or you cannot become more than a larger number. You can always get in middle. So what I mean by this is, okay, if you try to replace this with 4.5, let's say if I replace this with 4.5, I am not actually making this increasing, I'm just making this decreasing. And if I make this constantly decreasing, it will become like maximum equal to 4431, because I can just make this so much decreasing so that it can become just equal to 4. It cannot become less than 4. I hope you get the point, because if you just find out an average of very large number and smaller number, you can keep on decreasing out the average such that the average can become less than or equal. It's like it's just becoming equal to the smaller number. You cannot just make it less than the smaller number. It's just an observation. And so what you can observe here is, so let's try it out, not to put 5 equal to 4.5, but put 4 equal to 4.5. Okay, now the average is like increasing, but you can only increase this average up to 5. Okay, you cannot make it more than 5. I hope you get the point. So always also, as you can see, if you cannot make it more than 5, you can just like play in between 4 and 5. Okay, so that's why if it is decreasing, as you can see, you cannot make it increasing. You cannot make it increasing because the sequence is actually decreasing out. And if this is 1, or if you just find out that any number is decreasing, I want to make it increasing, I just want to flip it out. Now because the numbers are decreasing out, you cannot make any number greater than the previous number. You cannot make this number greater than this previous number, and thus you cannot do this. But let's assume that if I have some number which is increasing, which means that I have some number which is equal to equal to 4 5 1 2 3, like this. Now what you can see in this test case is, if you just find out one pair which is increasing, then you can make the whole string, or actually the whole array, increasing. Now that's the observation for this problem. I'll tell you how I come up to this observation. what you can think over this problem is I can always make every number, as you can see, every number equal to this number, like it can become less than or equal to this number only. If I find out the average of both of these numbers, okay, if I find out the average of both of these numbers, it can somehow decrease down only or increase down. So it can become equal to like this 4 5. I can increase it out, and it can increase so that it can become maximum equal to 5. I hope you get the point. Because I can make this 5, then I can do this pair and make this equal to 5, and 5, take this pair and make it equal to 5, and so on. So it means that I can make everything equal to 5. Let's assume if it's not equal to 5, it's not actually equal to 5, but like it's close to 5, because they are not equally, because we are finding out the round off number. But what I actually do here is, now if I like, this is not or I can just tell you in some other example so that it can become more clear. Or it's like 2 3 5 increasing, okay, then 1 2 3. Okay, just see out the number which is before. Actually this is increasing only, so this is no worry. But what you can do here is, if I somehow make all of these numbers equal to 5, like these numbers are equal to 5, like not exactly equal to 5, but like I can just make you understand more with some graph part. Like this is 2, this is 3, this is 5, okay, then this is equal to 1, this is equal to 2, this is equal to 3. Okay, so now you just have to make this increasing. You want to make this part increasing. Like, can you make this part increasing? As you can see, if you find out the average between both of them, like 5 and 1, what will be average? 6 divided by like 3. So it can become equal to like it will become like this, like 3. Okay, so then if you find out the average between like 3 and 5 equal to 4, so it can become equal to 4. Then 4 and 5, so 4.5. So it's like increasing like this to this, like it is close to 5, becoming close to 5, and so on. And I can also make this also come close to this 4.5, and so on. Okay, and then also make this as close to this part. I hope you get the point. Then what I actually can do here is start slicing out. So what actually by means of slicing out is, if I just find out this like as you can see, if I find out the average between these two numbers, the number will be in between, which is like just doing in between. So if I just take these two numbers which are as close as possible, then if I find out the average between these two numbers, it will be in between, like this somewhere. So what I can do here is just now take the other number and slice it out to make this number like this. So that now if I take out this half and this half, just make it out like this, and it will be like increasing out like. So it's like first making out all the other numbers like equal to this or close to this number, such that my territory is like this. Then I can just slice it out to make this like an increasing form. Okay, it's like what I can do here is, because slicing out means that, because if I have some number which is like equal to close to this number, then if I find out the middle, like let's assume that this number is equal to 4, and this is somewhat smaller, which is like 3.5. Now if I find out the average between both of these numbers, it will be like it can make this number smaller now, so it can become like half of this, because I will now replace this number with this, so it can become half. So now if I take this smaller number and average with this number, it can come out to this, then I again do an average between this and this, it can come out to this, so that it can become smaller. So I can make like this, and I can do an average with this and this, such that, because I've already told you that the next number can always be less than or equal to this number, because I'm taking this number and an average of this number. So the average will be between this number and this number only, like, because this number is like, maybe this number is what I've told you, like this, the next number will be like in between only now. So like I can make you like all these numbers in between this, so like this will keep on decreasing out. So because I can make this number as small as possible, so that's what we are doing here. like this, and you just have to find out that whether you can find out any number which is increasing. If you just find out one pair which is increasing, you can make out all the other numbers equal to this, and like the other numbers, like the previous number small to this, and you just keep on splicing it out, and that's the solution. So you just find out that whether you can just find out any pair which is a of I is greater than the previous number, and the answer is yes, else the answer is. I hope you understand the logic part and the code part for all the problems. If you still have any doubts, you can mention in the comment box. I'll see you next one. Till then, keep coding.